Hello, I'm David E. Hilscher. I'm a critical thinker, dissident scientist, and I'm here to tell you the truth about science, something a university professor won't tell you, the mass media won't tell you, and certainly those science evangelists won't tell you. Before I start on today's topic, which was an article, of course, coming from Albert Einstein himself, or at least his Facebook page and his almost 20 million followers, I do want to say that I have a couple of interviews coming up. You're really going to love it. And two of my favorite people of all time and living, breathing dissident scientists, incredible people. The first one is going to be Dr. Glenn Borchardt. He has agreed to be interviewed on my channel about his up-and-coming book, The Infinite Universe Theory. If you haven't looked at it, you can purchase it ahead of time. It will be coming out on December 25th, which is, I believe, a Monday. This coming Monday. So I'm looking forward to that and being able to read it before yes, I will read the book before I interview him. And the other person who has agreed just today to an interview is Dr. Alexander Unzicker for his book that he just came out with, which I also have a copy. We'll be reading it, of course, ahead of the interview, and that is Einstein's Lost Key, How We Overlooked the Best Idea of the 20th Century. Those are two interviews coming up that you don't want to miss here. I love it. I always try to get you guys something that you can't find anywhere else, and these people are the greatest, and they should be interviewed by lots of people, but I will do it if no one else will do it. But I'm here to talk about briefly today. It's not going to be a long talk, but I always try to help you guys out when you read these articles to understand what's the garbage, what's the good, what's the bad, what's the ugly, what's the beautiful, that kind of thing. And this, of course, is about dark energy, that mystical thing. And this is, of course, is interesting. Let's examine this as critical thinkers. So you know how we think here. The idea of dark energy, here it is on his Facebook page. The idea of dark energy is linked to Albert Einstein's theory of general relativity. But is it a fudge factor? Ooh, I'm so intrigued, but I'm not so intrigued because I'm first stuck on this first sentence. The idea that dark energy is linked to Albert Einstein's general theory of relativity. It's not. It all comes from this idea that the stars on the edge of the universe, galaxy, no, it's not a slip of the tongue, where the universe is everything. The Freudian slip. I don't know what you would call that in science, but I had it. But the stars at the edge of the galaxy seem to be moving faster than they should, according to Kepler and Newtonian gravitational laws. Therefore, the only way they can explain it is of course, you want to invent something, because if you invent something, you predict something that's not there, and you find it, guess what you get? Da-da-da-da, Nobel Prize, lots of money, and of course recognition. You can go around being pompous as you like. But anyways, let's just look at it one step at a time here, and that is this sentence says that it's related to Albert Einstein's theory of general relativity. It isn't. It is because general relativity is a theory of gravity. This has to do with gravity. No. Anyways, that's what we critical thinkers think. There's a layman person who's running this website, and obviously not, in my opinion, not the biggest of critical thinkers, but is more into marketing and, of course, keeping this website going, because 20 million eyeballs, like you all know, that's a lot of money, 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 money. So it doesn't matter. You want to keep this thing as popular as possible. You want to keep pumped up. Albert Einstein's a god. Oh, Albert, we worship you. Oh, we worship you. Okay, but is this a fudge factor? Meaning, oh, maybe dark matter isn't real. And of course, this is on a website and a place called Big Think. I'm a critical thinker, so I can even think about this. Big Think. Big Think is definitely a marketing thing. It is not a scientific kind of word. Doesn't mean like a critical thinker, for instance. Like our website, we're still working on criticalthinkers.info. Well, big think means, hey man, I'm thinking big. I'm thinking big thoughts, and maybe you won't be able to accompany me because I'm so darn smart. You're not going to be able to. Anyways, we can go to the Big Think website, and look at this. The universe doesn't need dark energy to expand faster, says new theory. Well, let's look at the title here. The universe doesn't need dark energy to expand faster. All right, what's going wrong here? Well, first of all, to expand faster. No, the universe is not. It's an idea that the universe is expanding. This is where you get the problems of titles implying, and this is bad journalism, bad journalism, bad journalism, because you do not put things that you think are facts there. Yes, it's just to attract attention. No, but in reality, if you read this article, you'll find out that we now know since the 1990s that the universe is expanding faster. So, okay, good. No documentary energy. Yay! Of course, there is no such thing as energy. Dark matter would be better. So if you're unicorns, at least use unicorns that are more believable than not believable. So, okay, dark matter, dark energy to expand faster, new theory. Says new theory. Dark energy is a mysterious force that is predicted to take up more than 68% of our universe. Since the observations of 1990s that the expansion of the universe is accelerating, okay, critical thinker coming up here. Since the observations in 1990 that the expansion of the universe is accelerating, we are using what to measure anything? Light. Do we have a model for light? No. Do we know what it's made out of? No. Do we know how it behaves at long distances? No. So in other words, we're using light to observe the universe and observe things, to measure things, and we see redshift, and we assume that is expansion. These all are moot points because the truth of the matter is we don't have a model for any of this, not at least in the mainstream. Other people outside of the mainstream have models, so they can talk about it much more confidently. Why? Because they have physicality and they're just not blowing smoke in different places, up black holes here. So it says there, science observation as expansion of the universe accelerate. Not a fact. It should say, since observation in the 1990s, it has been postulated and theorized that the universe expansion of the universe is accelerating. That that there is universe expansion and that is accelerating. That's the way you should put it. And a lot of good journalists would put it that way, but there are not very many good journalists out there now. They're just trying to be sensational so that they get those eyeballs on it. It says dark energy has been a leading hypothesis to explain why. And of course, if you listen to those science evangelists, I won't name their names because they're just not my favorite people. They will say, you will win a Nobel Prize. The first person to find it and detect it will, of course, be a Nobel Prize winner. Now, 3 mathematicians claim that they can show the expansion is speeding up without the need to invoke dark matter, which they call a fudge factor. Again, the only problem I have is what are you doing? 2 wrongs make a wronger or a righter, or 2 wrongs, getting rid of 2 wrongs and only having 1 wrong is less wronger? Is that what this is about? So it's speeding up without the idea that the dark energy is linked to the idea of dark energy is linked to Einstein's general relativity. Now I'm getting it. It's yes, it isn't linked to. That's why the guy says anything that's like, I'm just going to look up general relativity. Oh, there's some more. Einstein's a god. We must worship him. So that's where he's getting it. Believing in 1917 the universe was static and looking to address this issue of vacuum energy. Einstein added cosmological constant to represent an anti-gravitational force. When the fact of the universe expansion was confirmed, Einstein shelved the constant, calling it his greatest mistake. Relativity may just beat that as his greatest mistake. But in order to explain the expansion of speeding up, the idea that cosmological constant came back into fashion while being interchangeable with dark energy. Matter, if you're going to say it, a fact that did not sit well with Blake Temple, Zeke Vogler, and UC Davis Joel Smaller from the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor. In the new paper, they argue that invoking dark energy is not necessary since Einstein's equation of the original theory of general relativity are correct. So what is this saying? This is basically saying that That's why now I understand, but of course it's still not related because you can explain the movement of the stars without dark energy or dark matter because Newton does just fine. Now, of course, then if general relativity does that fine with this cosmological constant, then that's what they're saying, basically. So they're saying that, oh, Einstein wasn't wrong. Praise Einstein. How many times do we have to show him right? I mean, my goodness, he is a super brain. I mean, his brain must, I don't know, maybe it had like matter was condensed and he had super brain and did, incredibly complex. We're worshiping. That's one of the problems. We worship. So anyways, interesting, but that's what they're trying to say here. See if it says any conclusions. The science say the universe as a whole cannot be measured as one static entity as its inherent instability provides that. Instead, you can measure local space-time. No. Okay, you got to read this here. Instead, you can measure local space-times created by instability. I mean, folks, look at that. If you're an engineer, like most engineers go look at this, they're going to say, this is mumbo jumbo. The kind of the BSing kind. Basically, it's just smells. I mean, come on, local space times. I really do prefer models that are physical, and we do not talk about things like space-time. These things are these would have the same cosmic accelerators as the theories of dark energy, maintain the mathematicians. The math isn't controversial. Its instability isn't controversial. Temple said, what we don't know is, does our Milky Way galaxy lie near the edge of a large underdensity of matter in the universe? I sort of kind of get what they're saying, but their paper also includes predictions that can be tested to separate their model from dark energy models. So I think they're getting closer, but I will be talking about dark energy. If you haven't, go to my dad's channel, youtube.particle.guru, youtube.particle.guru. Go there, look at it, it says dark energy. We can see in the curve that a model of gravitation that takes in the physicality, the geometry of the galaxy, explains the velocities very simply with just Newtonian gravity. And this has also been explained by another person in our group, which I, again, will all be talking to you guys about in a future video on dark matter. I'm not quite there yet. I want to prepare something on our Wikipedia of one of the papers that I think you need to take a look at. But again, this is just to give you an idea how we look at it as critical thinkers. That's my job. And remember, like I always say, don't take what anyone says on faith. Stay critical, stay thinking. I'm Dave D. Hilser. I'm your science therapist. I'm here to try to teach you how to look at everything, including articles in the mass media, so we can tear them apart and see. Sometimes there's some interesting stuff. It's not all bad. Ciao for now.